Now, as you know, we've been inviting people to submit questions on the website, so if I may, to the candidates, I'm going to ask them a couple of questions that have come in on the website. And Peter, you'll be the first one on this. What do you think the role of deputy leader should be? That's from Eric Masheter. And what, in the candidate's view, is the most distinctive feature of the Labour Party, and how would they develop it for the 21st century? And that's from Steve Bennett. Peter Hain.
The deputy leader is the only elected post in this contest, is absolutely vital in connecting the grassroots into the cabinet and being a voice for the grassroots opinion, trade unionists, backbench colleagues, grassroots members in the cabinet. And we've been doing too much bouncing of policy from the top, and not enough listening, not enough building partnership right across the party. And I see my role as making sure that that doesn't happen. And I think if we don't do that, we can't win. If we do it, we will win. And it's vital to bind the party back together again. Now, what is the distinctive thing about the Labour Party? Because we have a vision of government that is on your side, that doesn't just leave you to the vagaries of market forces when you're trying to get a new house, when you're struggling to have a pension in retirement, when you're fighting for your job in a world where China and India are paying only 60p an hour. You need a government on your side, not a Tory philosophy that you're on your own. That's our distinctive vision as a Labour government committed to social justice and equality.
John Cruddas.
Well, to me, the deputy leader of the Labour Party should be a job in and of itself. It shouldn't be linked in with being Deputy Prime Minister. It shouldn't be linked in with carrying a big ministerial portfolio either. It should just be a standalone job, honour enough, charged with rebuilding the Labour Party from the bottom up and articulating the views of the Labour Party to the government in power. I think given the scale of the decline in membership and activity, that is the task at hand, and that should be the priority of this post. So I wouldn't collapse those three jobs into one. In terms of the distinctive features of the Labour Party, the hallmark of the Labour Party to me was always its pluralism, in that there were different groups, different classes, different religions, people with no religion at all, different nations, different regions, all coming together under an umbrella of respect and tolerance for different ideas and traditions of thought. And I think arguably that's what we've lost, in that we've become too authoritarian, top-down, and we've turned... For example, our National Policy Forum has become a £1 million exercise a year in political control, rather than a vibrant political space to allow different groups and identities to come together in that spirit of tolerance. And that's what we need to recreate now.
Hilary Benn.
Well, I think that the role of the deputy leader is to be your voice at the heart of government. And I think to do that, it's got to be a voice not just on renewing the party. I think the deputy leader should work in partnership with the chair of the Labour Party, who is elected by Labour Party members. But I think you also want a voice at the heart of policy. Because if the party says, and you all say it, we want to be listened to, we want to be heard more, then you want the person that you've elected to be participating in those decisions in government. What's the most distinctive characteristic of the party? It's very simple. We want to change the world. That's why we joined the party. Could we spend a bit more time changing the world and not quite so much time changing the minutes of the previous meeting? In other words, can we face outwards? And for the last 3.5 years, I've had the privilege of doing a job which is literally about taking your passion and using it with Gordon and Tony's support to change the world. And when people say politics never changes anything, it isn't true. It absolutely transformed the world if we put our minds to it, and that's why we joined the party.
Hazel Blears.
Well, I think the job of the deputy leader, I've been really clear from the outset, is to be the party's campaigner-in-chief. I think the next election is going to be more difficult than any election we've faced in the last 20 years. I don't think you can do this in addition to a great big ministerial job. I don't think it's the Deputy Prime Minister. I don't think it's a part-time job. It's not a weekend job. You have to be out there getting our message across on the streets and in our communities. You also have to be at the heart of government. You have to be making sure the party has a voice, and you have to make sure that our manifesto is delivered right across government. And I think that's a big enough job. This is a Labour Party job, and that should be the job that we get on with. Our distinctive feature, and why we've won elections, is because the Labour Party has actually been in touch with the vast majority of working people in this country, and we've got to stay absolutely in that space. If we become arrogant, complacent and out of touch, that's the time when we'll get swept from office, and that's when we'll actually deserve to be out as well. I think ministers have got to be out up and down the country, week in, week out, doing events like this. Do you know, since we started doing this deputy leadership hustings, we've put on 1,000 members a week. We should carry on doing this kind of work to build the party.
Well, Alan Johnson.
Jim, this is the big issue amongst us. It's a very, I think, a very interesting debate about what the role of the deputy leader should be. I mean, the role of the deputy leader is to support the leader and to deputise for the leader, and as well as being the conduit between the party in government and the parliamentary party, the European party, the trade unions, and CLPs, the job is also to deal with policy. And this is where I disagree with John. I think every previous deputy leader, whether it was Nye Bevan, whether it was Clem Attlee, whether it was Herbert Morrison, has had a major portfolio. And that's because if you're not at the heart of policy making, you can't do the role of the conduit between the party effectively. You can't just come and tell the Cabinet what the Labour Party policy is. They probably know that already. What you can do to do the role effectively is be involved in that policy and be involved in that very important party link. And I think this is really important about what the role should be. And I think it's a very interesting debate.
John Cruddas, very briefly come back on that, because I can see you.
No, I mean, Alan's absolutely right. There's a distinction amongst there's three who have that view, and there's three, I think, that have a distinct view about that. And you pays your money, you takes your choice, don't you?
All right, Harriet Harman.
Well, I think the job of deputy leader should be in the cabinet, but I don't think that it should be combined with a big department. I think leading a big department is a job in itself, and I think that to rebuild the Labour Party and to work alongside Gordon Brown to win back the trust and confidence of the British people is a full-time job for the deputy leader. So I think it should be in the cabinet, but not combined with another job. And I think that that was a mistake when we were first in government to expect John Prescott to be Deputy Leader, Deputy Prime Minister, Secretary of State for Transport, Environment, Local Government and Energy. And I think that that was part of the reasons why the focus on the party was lost. So I think it's got to be importantly building up the party. But I think you need a Deputy Leader who can do it, not just talking about it. And I've always put it into action, and our local party, and any local party, is the best defence against the Tories, the Nats, the Greens, the BNPs or the Lib Dems. My local party, we've built up to 700 strong. So that's what I would do, help build the party in practice.
Thank you very much indeed.